we're down to the semifinals in the Club World Cup. Fluminense is taking on Chelsea today. And tomorrow it's a big showdown between the two most recent Champions League winners, PSG and Real Madrid. PSG is fresh off winning the treble, winning Champions League for the first time ever, whereas Real Madrid, who had also been on the path to win the treble, didn't take any of the three major trophies. So a big question here is who needs this win more? Is it PSG or is it Real Madrid? For me, guys, I'm going to say Real Madrid. I feel like a win in Club World Cup will not take away or add anything to this PSG team, but can there be an argument made against that?
I agree with you. I think Real Madrid needs this more, especially for the launching off point of the project of this guy right here. If PSG wins or loses this Club World Cup in a semi-final, they're Champions League winners. It's like this guy was walking into training shirtless, grounding. Like, I get it.
Shirtless, no shoes.
No. Like, they've given him the day off in the group stage, didn't train as much.
But it's Real Madrid, right? And for PSG, what's the biggest target's been the Champions League, but in the bigger picture, the biggest target is becoming in the conversation alongside the biggest clubs in the world. So whenever Real Madrid's on offer, you have to beat them. It gives you added credibility, and that is the number one mission at this Club World Cup for the club.
The upside for both of these teams is massive if they win the Club World Cup. That I think we can all agree on. Like, it's huge for PSG coming off of a Champions League season if they beat Real Madrid. And for Xabi Alonso to beat PSG, the reigning European champions, of course there's going to be upside to it, but I'm more focused on the downside. What happens if Xabi Alonso loses here? I guess there's going to be questions starting the new season, but my feeling is you're right back on track. Can you lose to the European champions? Of course you can lose to the European champions. It's one game in a summer tournament that the sun is beating down on you. It's going to be like 90 degrees later tomorrow. Honestly, Fluminense needs it more. That's the real answer.
That's not part of the
These
question.
guys don't care. They're going to walk away, and if they win and they lose, it's all going to be the same to them. Sheesh.
All right, let's bring it back to here, because these are the two teams we got to talk about. Calmate. Listen, we do have big questions, though, for Xabi Alonso, especially heading into this game. Gonzalo García or Kylian Mbappé. García did step up for Kylian Mbappé while he was out in the group stage matches due to sickness, and he took that opportunity and completely ran with it. So if you're Xabi Alonso, who are you starting tomorrow?
For this tournament? Ooh. For this tournament, it's this guy right here, Gonzalo García. I mean, Mbappé doesn't even make our graphic. Gonzalo García has been killing it. And by the way, he did mention that he lived 2 years in Argentina while his dad was working there.
Fun fact.
Is he eligible?
He lived in Tigre. I don't know. I don't think he's eligible. But it's hot boy summer right now for this kid. He's slaying. I don't know if he would have got this opportunity if Mbappé wasn't sick. I don't know if he's going to be getting these same opportunities come August, September in La Liga.
Yeah, the rumor right now and reports say that Real Madrid was looking for a backup striker for Mbappé, and this guy has completely proved himself that they've completely halted it all.
Yeah, so, we were talking about the replacement for Joselu, right? And you brought up a good point with Ante Boudmer. That looks like a thought of the past with how this kid is playing. In my opinion, the question shouldn't be, is it Gonzalo García or Kylian Mbappé? The question should be, at what point is Vinny Jr. coming off the bench for Gonzalo García?
In the long term?
No, for this match. For this match.
That's a good question.
I would start Kylian Mbappé and Gonzalo García over Vinny. I watched Vinny play the last two matches. Doesn't look confident. And it's a big call, but it's the right call.
I think that's a fair point that maybe this guy's questioning right now, but he's been playing Vinny, Gonzalo García, and it's kind of been working for Gonzalo García. I don't know how much it muddies the water for Gonzalo García, but in the long term, I'm curious to see how this guy is going to make an impact with more limited minutes if he is to go forward, if he is to be that backup striker, that Joselu type role where you get 20 minutes and you have to be the difference maker. You have to convince the Bernabeu that you are the ultimate super sub.
Yeah. All right, well, let's take a look at how these two teams will be shaping up against each other. Lahoud, I'm interested first to figure out how you see this PSG attack shaping up against Real Madrid's defense. We have Trent Alexander-Arnold, new guy here. Dean Huijsen, he is suspended for this match. So how do you see that matchup playing out?
Well, look, Xabi Alonso, can't state it enough. His side is the most improved side at the Club World Cup. They take on the best side in world football, and by a mile, when you think about this tournament right now. And it's going to be a lot on the outside. The midfield matchup is one we're going to get into. When I look at this, you mentioned Trent. This space right here is going to be so important. I watched them play Borussia Dortmund, and Trent...
B- circle.
B- circle?
Yeah.
Oh,
it could have been better.
Let's see how
Let's
you
do it again.
Nico.
Let's go back. C+.
See, that's even worse.
So the half spaces is
in
gonna be so
in that C+ circle.
Yeah, that
Talk
C+
to me about
circle.
that.
So the half space is going to be important because remember when we watched the Champions League final and PSG's Champions League run-in, Ivica Kvaratskhelia is one of the best 1v1 players in the world. And that's an imbalance right there. If you're Trent, I've seen Trent struggle with this overlap from Nuno Mendes. And we watched the Bayern Munich match. Nuno Mendes, although he sits back and it looks like a back three when PSG are in possession, when they press and he gets the ball and Trent's out of position, it's going to put a lot of onus on Fede Valverde to have the right balance. We've seen Fede bomb forward more. If I'm Fede, you have to time in this heat. You have to time when you get forward. So 1v1, Trent, Fede, and Raul Asensio, they're going to have to be interconnected. But the big thing for me, because Real Madrid are a pressing machine under Xabi Alonso, now I'm looking at this. The best way to beat a press, especially if Real Madrid put a high line, which we could see them, is this big diagonal ball from Nuno Mendes, all the way to this side. Fran Garcia, for as good as he's been in my F+ line, as we see right through Bradley Barcola, for as good as he's been going forward, look who he's going up against, Nico. Your favorite player in terms of being a fullback in the world. Achraf Hakimi.
Yeah.
That diagonal pass is going to be massive, and that's how the outlet's going to be for PSG.
Yeah, I mean, both sets of fullbacks have shown that they have a strong understanding between them two. Obviously, much more PSG because they've shown it at the biggest stage, and the other pair of fullbacks, it's a brand new partnership. At least at the Club World Cup, we've seen Real Madrid's guys combine for goals, but on the defensive aspect of things. Not that Hakimi and Mendes are incredible fullback defenders, but they know how to cover a lot of space that they leave when they go forward, right? And that's going to be a key with Trent Alexander-Arnold. He's going to need some help 100% when you do get that 2v1 with Kvaratskhelia and Nuno Mendes against Trent. Trent sometimes just turns off. The game kind of just goes for him if it's not in the offensive half, if it's defensively. And we've seen Valverde kind of slot into that region. You want to draw a circle? You want to draw a circle around those two?
A+, Lahoud.
Get this.
In that region, Valverde kind of make his way to help Trent. But on top of the fullbacks battles, I mean, obviously with two teams with this quality, you're going to get battles all over the pitch. For me, it's the midfield because between Ruiz, Vitinha, and Neves, the way that they control and suffocate you, right? They're playing here. PSG's playing in this portion of the field. And when they control, when Vitinha dictates the game a lot, you're going to want Tchouaméni to break things up. But between Valverde and Arda, this guy is going to be key to keep that ball, to give Real Madrid some football, to allow them to control the game a little bit more because PSG is going to want to be doing the dictating. And Arda, we spoke about the depth chart from the attackers. To start the season, I would have thought that Arda ended up in the depth chart between these two, right? Mbappé, Vini, Gonzalo Garcia, Endrick, Masantuono. But Arda's been used in that midfield role. I mean, he's been used all over the pitch at this point for Real Madrid. But now under Xabi Alonso, he was the one that has that personality to say, give me the ball. I'll start allowing for that collective fluidity, to start building up, to be able to release a couple of players, to hold the ball, and to give Real Madrid really that balance in the midfield that they're looking for and that collective portion to their game that was lacking for most of the season last season.
Yeah, absolutely agree.
So you guys have spoken about the tactics here, but what about the mentality coming into this? We're not seeing Mbappé on the starting 11, but from the past couple games, he has at least been used as a sub. How much do you think him facing off against his former team, who just won Champions League the year after he left, how much is that going to be in the back of his mind? And do you think mentally that may affect him if we do see him in this match?
Look, if I'm Kylian Mbappé, this is the match that I've had circled on the calendar from the moment. I mean, we saw videos after the final whistle when Real Madrid won. I mean, going into training, they were looking at this PSG Bayern game, and every single player, including Mbappé, was like, oh man, this is a great opportunity. Right now, the talk in France, and talking to a couple French journalists, is that you need to start building the team around Ousmane Dembélé. putting him in the false nine. And are we giving Kylian Mbappé? Kylian Mbappé is always going to play for France. But should Ousmane Dembélé be the gravitas that Les Bleus moves forward with? If you're Kylian Mbappé, this is a great opportunity not just to prove your former employees or employers wrong, but your national team manager moving forward. It's a big conversation.
They might as well be employees because when Mbappé was at PSG, he was running the show. I'm reluctant to say that this is the narrative-defining game of Mbappé versus PSG. I wonder how it is. If Mbappé comes on, doesn't score, or fluffs one, if they're going to use this game as an example down the line, 7 months from now, 6 months from now, when Real Madrid is back in the knockout stage of the Champions League and you want Mbappé to deliver, right, against the likes of PSG. If they meet again, if they're going to be bringing up the Club World Cup, the match between these two teams, again, this goes back to the whole European mentality of where does this tournament rank in the eyes of the media, the fans, the clubs themselves as a storyline going into next season, or rather a preseason friendly to help build concepts that they later want to roll out when, for them, things really matter.
Gonzalo García to score or assist has been the bet that just keeps on giving all tournament long. He has scored or assisted in every single FIFA Club World Cup match that he has played in. He scored against Borussia Dortmund. He scored against Juventus, Salzburg, Al Hilal, and he assisted against Pachuca. Right now, his to score or assist line is plus 140. And frankly, I don't care who they're playing. I know PSG has been really strong defensively. I know that this is the best team they've played by far in this competition. It doesn't matter. If you see a plus in front of this bet, you just have to take it at this point with the way that he's playing. Even if he comes off the bench, if Mbappé does start for some reason, I still think it's a good bet and something that I have no problem taking with his current form.
Yeah, now I got a stat from research that they just dropped on Gonzalo García. They told me that in this revamped Club World Cup in its entire history, Gonzalo García is the only player to score in every single round. In the entire history of the revamped Club World Cup.
Yeah, how can you bet against something that has happened in every single match in the history of the FIFA Club World Cup,
history.
I'm with you on that one. And now that I've made the Real Madrid fans happy, let's go ahead and make the PSG fans happy as well here. Because unfortunately, because this goes kind of against what you guys have been saying, I am taking PSG to advance in this competition. It's minus 140. It's a little bit of juice. And maybe as a Bayern Munich fan, I'm still a little bit hurt by this PSG side. But they've looked so good this competition without their best player. Ousmane Dembélé has maybe played 20 minutes off the bench twice in this competition. He hasn't been fit to start, and it just hasn't mattered. This PSG side has conceded a single goal so far in the entirety of this competition, and they scored against Bayern Munich with only 9 players on the pitch. They've got the talent and they've got the depth to go against anyone right now, and even though this might not completely matter to them, and maybe it matters more to Fluminense or to Chelsea, I just don't think it matters right now to anyone. PSG is too good to be stopped. I think we're going to see a lot of goals in this game from both ends of the pitch, but ultimately I've got PSG punching their ticket to the finals.
So in theory, could I combine this with an over 2.5 goals?
I think you could combine it with an over 3.5 or 4.5 goals. I'm actually looking at quite the shootout this afternoon, or tomorrow when they play. There we go.
Hey, Buckets, I can't wait to see if these hit. You've been hitting a lot, so we'll be ready to hear your final bets, I'm sure, later on this week. So, John, thank you so much for joining us.